What's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Get Into the Facts. You already know what it is. I'm your host, Andrew Curiel. Thanks for joining me today. We got a good little topic to go into. This is only the second time in pretty relative history, in U.S. history, where we've censored a member of Congress. Okay. It's Rashida Tlaib. I'm not a big fan of hers. She's a very extreme progressive type person. There's not a lot that I have in common with her, but I do not support the censoring of candidates that are supposed to be representing the voices of a district, of an area of the United States. Okay? Just because you censure her does not mean that the voices that she's speaking for just go away. And that's my problem. I would rather hear what people say that disagree with me than the people that agree with me. Okay? I'd rather talk to them. I'd rather hear them because then you know exactly what the other side thinks, and then you find ways to come together and sacrifice and make things happen. Okay? But by censoring, that doesn't do anything. Okay? And do I agree with what she said? No. No, not necessarily. Okay? Were there some things that were bad? Yeah. But we're going to get into it, guys. All right? And you guys make your own determination. Put it in the comments below. Let me know what you think. But let's smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we're going to get right into it. All right, guys? But we got this first thing here from ABC News. The House of Representatives voted to censure Democratic Rep. Rashida Tlaib on Tuesday night, despite her emotionally defending herself, as Republicans and some members of her own party voted for a resolution that claimed she had been promoting false narratives regarding the October 7, 2023 Hamas attack on Israel, and for calling for the destruction of the state of Israel. Now, I thought personally that was a little too far. Did she really say that she wanted the destruction of Israel? We're going to get into it. I have her own statement that she made when the attacks from Hamas happened. Okay. She just a little sneak peek. She didn't say she wants the destruction of Israel. She said something that was close to the line. She's very good with playing the line when it comes to this, guys. Okay. And we're really going to see that here. But continue with what we had here. The tally for the vote was 234 yeses to 188 noes. This was the second time Tlaib faced a censure resolution over her criticism of Israel. Tlaib became emotional on the House floor earlier Tuesday as she defended her views on the deadly conflict. Tlaib rose to speak during debate on the resolution, which had been introduced by Rep. Rich McCormick, a Republican of Georgia. Tlaib's critics have pointed to her use of the phrase "from the river to the sea," which is considered by some as a call for ending Israel's existence. Excuse me. Tlaib, however, has said it's an aspirational call for freedom, human rights, and peaceful coexistence, not death, destruction, or hate. Now, guys, oh, and sorry, I didn't even have that on there. But guys, to be real, that saying "from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," I can see how she can frame it in a more cordial way. But the vast majority of people that support Hamas, not just Palestinians, but actually support Hamas, they say the same exact phrase. So you can't. It's not like you can't say the same phrase as a terrorist organization, which Hamas is. You can't use the same phrase and just be like, "Oh, I just have a different meaning." No. A terrorist organization is using the exact same phrase. You have to change the phrase up. Change the phrase up so the people on the outside can see the difference between both phrases. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it really just looks and it implies that you're on the same page as Hamas. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, guys. And that's the problem here. She's very good at changing the way the words were implied. And if that saying really did mean what she was saying, by all means. But the thing is her statements on Israel don't reflect the reality because she calls Israel an apartheid state. Okay. And we're going to get into exactly what apartheid means, because that word's been getting floated around a lot. And I want the average person to really understand what that means. Okay, guys. Let me go back here, back to this article here. Surrounded by some of her progressive Democratic colleagues, Tlaib said earlier Tuesday she would not be silenced and accused members of distorting her words. I can't believe we have to say this, but Palestinian people are not disposable, she said before she broke down in tears for several seconds earlier on Tuesday. Rep. Ilhan Omar, Democrat of Minnesota, stood to comfort Tlaib before she continued. We are human beings just like anyone else. My city, my grandmother, like all Palestinians, just wants to live her life with freedom and human dignity we all deserve, she said. Speaking up to save lives, no matter faith, no matter ethnicity, should not be controversial in this chamber. The cries of the Palestinian and Israeli children sound no different to me. What I don't understand is why the cries of Palestinian children sound different to you all. We cannot lose our shared humanity. And I do agree with that. The thing is this would have never happened if Hamas did not attack and really go after civilians. They went after the kibbutzes, which are suburban gated communities, guys. These were little gated communities. They waited. We showed the video in one of our last podcasts about this. There was Hamas soldiers waiting for a random civilian car to come up to open the gate. They killed the person in the car and went inside the suburban area to go kill everybody else. I mean, look, nobody is calling for the death of any children. Okay, they are innocent civilians. The one thing that I will agree is I do not agree with how Israel is doing their bombing of the civilian buildings. Okay, I understand that there are Hamas people that live inside the civilian buildings and work inside the civilian buildings, mainly the tunnel system that is hundreds of miles of a tunnel network that is built under Gaza. Okay, they're not really in the buildings for the most part, and that is my problem. I will 100% agree Israel went completely overboard with the bombings that they were doing. Okay, they should have been more surgical. I would have much rather special forces, maybe even little tank group, just going through and really targeting Hamas. Okay. They're losing the battle of emotion when it comes to how the world feels about this because of the bombing. If it wasn't for the bombing that they did, they would be completely in the right. Nobody would be batting an eye right now. Okay. But this bombing is a little bit out of control. But what Tlaib is saying is she's calling for a ceasefire now. Okay. I would agree with a ceasefire, but I think on my end, I'm more in line with having humanitarian pauses, because how can you have a ceasefire with a terrorist organization that attacked your civilians, not military, but your civilians? Okay. You have to take that terrorist organization who's in control of Gaza out. You have to take Hamas out. They are not doing it the right way with the bombings, okay? They should not be indefinitely staying in Gaza. They should not. But they need to get Hamas out. And the way they're doing it is going to be ugly. It's going to have casualties. And there's no angel when it comes to war, guys, okay? Let me just flat out say, no matter what side you're on, there's never an angel when it comes to war. Never. So we need to get that out of our system, because civilians are going to die on both sides. But the one thing I can say is this would not be happening in Gaza if Hamas did not attack Israel the way they did. I mean, they had over 1,400 people die in Israel, mainly civilians, with over 6,700 more injured. Okay. So yes, are they killing more in Gaza because it's way more densely populated? Yes. And with the bombings that they're doing? Yes. Yes, it is. But again, none of this would be happening right now. None of these Palestinian children would be dying if it wasn't for them doing what they did. But again, I don't agree with their censorship. That's the biggest thing. And we're going to go here, guys, from the New York Times, get a little bit more detail here. 22 Democrats joined most Republicans to pass the resolution, which accuses Ms. Tlaib of promoting false narratives surrounding Hamas' October 7th attack on Israel and of calling for the destruction of the state of Israel. The vote was 234 to 188. 4 Republicans voted against censuring Ms. Tlaib, while 1 Democrat and 3 Republicans voted present, declining to take position. I mean, I just really don't get it, guys. But let's read her statement here. And this is from Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib's actual website, her .gov website, all right? I grieve the Palestinian and Israeli lives lost yesterday, today, and every day. I am determined as ever to fight for a just future where everyone can live in peace, without fear, and with true freedom, equal rights, and human dignity. The path to that future must include lifting the blockade, ending the occupation, and dismantling the apartheid system that creates the suffocating, dehumanizing conditions that can lead to the resistance. Failure to recognize the violent reality of living under siege, occupation, and apartheid makes no one safer. No person, no child anywhere should have to suffer or live in fear of violence. We cannot ignore the humanity in each other as long as our country provides billions in unconditional funding to support the apartheid government. This heartbreaking cycle of violence will continue. But guys, see how she carefully worded that right there? All right, we're going to read this again. Just this one part. Where is it? Where is it? She says that the path to future must include lifting the blockade, ending the occupation, and dismantling the apartheid system that creates the suffocating dehumanizing. She's just going in a long way of saying that we need to dismantle Israel. But she's calling it in an apartheid government. Does anybody know what apartheid means? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, we're going to get into it, guys. Apartheid, according to the definition, and this is from Wikipedia, apartheid was characterized, we're not going to go on that one. We'll go down here. From Britannica.com. Apartheid was the name that the party gave to its racial segregation policies, which built upon the country's history of racial segregation between the ruling white minority and the non-white minority. Now, guys, in order for it to be an apartheid, there needs to be no citizens that are a part of the government in Israel. There are Arab citizens that are in government and in high positions of power in Israel. Okay, they are not secondary citizens. It's just there's no evidence to fully suggest that that's the case. Okay, they make up 20%, just under about 18 to 20% of all Israel when it comes to Arab citizens, which they are typically, the majority of them are Palestinian that stayed since Israel became a state in 1948. Okay, so again, guys, this is not an apartheid government. Like they have been pretty fair when it comes to all this. And the only thing that I would completely support a two-state solution if Gaza was not controlled by a terrorist organization. Part of their doctrine, guys, is they want the annihilation of all Jews and of Israel. Okay? Like, how can you have peace and how can you give statehood to a government that wants the annihilation of a current country and its people? You can't. I mean, you just can't. Like, that's the biggest thing, guys. There's no way to have peace with a two-state solution when the controlling government of Gaza is a terrorist organization. I mean, please just help me with that. I mean, I really want to know how the hell we can have peace knowing that, I mean, we can't give them statehood. We just can't. We just can't. So again, guys, this is just, it's just really crazy. I do not agree with the censorship of Rashida Tlaib. Okay. Is she good with her words, to kind of cover that she does want not the annihilation. She doesn't want the annihilation of Israel, but she wants the dismantling of the apartheid state. Guys, she wants to get rid of Israel. Okay. But again, Do I support censoring her? No, because those voices are still going to be heard on the street. And I would rather the people that voted her in, I want their voices heard so I know exactly where they stand. Okay? That's the biggest thing. You want to keep your friends close, but your enemies closer at the end of the day. Okay? And I'm not saying they're enemies, okay? Don't shoot me on this, okay? But when you're making statements like free Palestine and all this, I'm like, yes, free the Palestinian people, but free them from their own government that they elected first, please. Like, can we please, before we go to a two-state solution, we need to get rid of this terrorist organization that obviously does not care more for their people than the annihilation of Israel, and to keep making homemade rockets to try to shoot at Israel, knowing they got an Iron Dome. Like, come on, guys. Come on. Like, you can be for the Palestinian people and pray for the Palestinian people without saying that Israel is the demonizer, because they're not. Okay? Did they go too far with the airstrikes? I personally believe so, but I still don't think they're in the wrong, because they would have not attacked Gaza if it wasn't for Hamas attacking them and their citizens first. All right, guys. But hey, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. I know we're halfway through this week, so stay ready. Stay ready to make that money. All right. But stay blessed as well, guys. And I'll see you on that next video.